I guess we could get started so we can call the meeting to order at 7:33. And just so you, Susan couldn't be here, so I'm running the meeting for today. So first thing we do is Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
justice for all.
Okay, so our first item would be on the minutes. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from November 4th?
So moved.
Second.
Oh,
No, go ahead, Rick.
Rick seconded. Lou, I think, made the motion.
All in favor? Oh, is
Aye.
there-
Aye.
Aye.
I guess we should have said any discussion first, sorry. Was there any updates or comments made on it? Okay,
I didn't have any.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? No opposed, any abstain? Nope, we're good. All right. Okay, we have our agenda. How about a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
I guess we have Rick and then Mike.
You got
Is there any comments on the agenda? We good? Okay, all in favor of the agenda as it stands?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Abstentions? We're good. Okay. All right, first, next thing is communications and correspondence. So I have a couple items I wanted to bring up. First, I wanted to just acknowledge that we did have our annual wreath laying ceremony on Veterans Day last week. It was as usual, it was a very somber but nice event. State Senator Needleman and State Rep Carpino had an opportunity to attend as well, which is good because they have all these other events going on. So they were able to join us for a very nice event as usual. The second thing I wanted to bring up is that there is a free COVID testing pop-up drive-through that's going to be occurring on Saturday. It's going to be from 10 to 2 at the library parking lot. It's being sponsored by Community Health Center of Middletown in conjunction with Chatham Health. What you will be doing is entering the library on Freestone, and then you will be exiting near the Waverly Center. And the Portland Police will help manage the movement of traffic. I've heard sometimes these are pretty popular, so it's good to have we'll have the Portland Police there to make sure that it stays orderly.
Hey, Ralph,
Yep.
I have a question on this. To participate in this COVID test, do you have to be a resident or is it open to anybody? If somebody comes from out of town, can they do the test?
Yeah, I know you're saying, and to be honest with you, I saw that question pop up because Susan had posted it on Facebook, and that question popped up and she never replied to it. So I'll be honest with you, I'm not positive what that situation is in terms of if anyone can show. I didn't want to venture a guess. So
All right.
I'm sure that there'll be something posted in the River East, and I would expect Susan would probably put a reminder out there in social media. So, and if there's anyone certainly that is wondering about, they probably could give a quick call to the town hall to ask the question. That was a good question. I just never saw an answer to that, so I'm not sure.
Also, Ralph, there's going to be the same organization is having testing in Middletown at 19 Grand Street Monday and it looks like it's Monday through Sunday from 8:30 to 4.
You're talking about the community health center?
Yes.
Yeah, they've been running it. It's, you know, they've definitely, especially early in the morning. I know some folks that went to that and they said it was the, you know, there was a bunch of cars, maybe 100 cars in front of them.
Oh, wow.
But I know that we went, we kind of took the whole family for that, the testing in the middle of the week, and it wasn't bad at all. We just went sort of midday. So it
Okay.
depends when you go, and they do allow walk-ups, which was definitely a quicker route than being and sitting in the car. So, but they were doing a good
Okay.
job of processing folks through.
Good. Is there anything out in terms of communications correspondence that someone has to share? Okay, we will move on to public comments. So I guess I'd ask the question, is there any public comment out there? I see no one's getting unmuted, so I'm going to guess that
And there
for
is
the
nothing
time
in
being,
the
we
chat
have no
either.
public comment. Oh,
Oh,
no, Dave, no public comment, right?
No.
No, okay. All right, so we can move on to old business. The first one is racial equity, diversion and inclusion, diversity and inclusion. I know April, you are on. Let me see if I could actually unmute you. Maybe. Could April be, oh, there you go.
Okay.
So April, did you want to speak to your solidarity task force?
Sure. So we met last week and we've developed a plan of what we are going to do as a task force. So next month, we're going to be developing a survey that will go out to the town to find out where the town stands and what concerns they have. And we will take the information from that survey. And in February, we will be having a community forum that will include the police, hopefully the Board of Education, and then youth services also along with our task force. And then we were also planning on, after the community forum, releasing a community resources pamphlet for information for the community of where they can go for different concerns they have, whether it be social worker needs or financial assistance or anything that the community could possibly need. Will include in the pamphlet with information on how to contact the different bureaus that handle those things. And then we are hoping to have a scavenger hunt in the month of April, and then followed by a cultural fair, Juneteenth celebration in June. And we are also going to be having Elizabeth McGee do a training for our task force in January. And, you know, anybody obviously can access the meeting and take part in that training that she'll be providing us through Sustainable CT.
Well, that's good. It appears that you had a very successful first full meeting as a team, besides your opening kickoff, that came out with a lot of ideas of things to get rolling with. That's great. Is there
Yeah.
anything else, April?
No, I think that that's everything. Yeah, we have a really good bunch of people working together and it was a very productive meeting. So it was good.
Very good. Thank you.
Yep.
thank you.
Okay, I think that's it for that topic. So we'll move on to reentry committee, discussion of services and programs for during COVID-19. So first of all, what I'd probably start off with is obviously, I know that it's been a lot of this items have been put out there on social media with regards to our current status, but the town of Portland has moved to being a red town. Now joining at the last time they said was 99 other towns and cities. So there's 100 towns and cities that were classified as red. That was from the status report that they did for the 12th. So tomorrow they'll probably release a new report. We'll have to see how it goes in terms of where it goes in terms of if there's more red towns. My fear is that there would be. From the standpoint of Portland, they went up to being red because their ratio or their running total is about 19.2 per 100,000. So we spent a lot of time well below 10, and now we're unfortunately creeping up. So certainly the town is being very mindful of watching what's going on and what actions they have to be thinking about if it continues to degrade, I guess you would say. From the standpoint of the town, in terms of, I know there's been comments made, but want to just emphasize that the town hall, because I know there was some discussion in social media about what the story is with the town hall. Is it closed? We can't get to it. But the town hall, other than one day last week, and when they closed to do a cleaning after they had a positive case within the town hall, they are open. Their main focus, it is beyond just appointments. Certainly appointments are a big part of it, but they do have a greeter at the door near the ground floor entrance near the town clerk. And the intent is really just to minimize the amount of traffic of who's going through the building so that it makes it easier for them to clean it each day. But you're able to come in to sign in. If you're looking to meet with someone within the town hall, they do have the room reserved. That used to be the old probate court office. And they will have meetings, socially distanced meetings in there in order to hold regular town business. So I just want to emphasize that because there was some comments made about whether you can get into the town hall and do your regular business. And that certainly is available. The other thing I would make a point to note is that obviously we've now, if you've heard anything in terms of media coverage or locally, we have had our first set of cases that have happened within the school system. And unfortunately, I think every school has pretty much been hit with the exception of the middle school at this point. So there are, the whole high school, I believe, is actually working remotely until the 20th, I believe. And so, and there's a couple other classes that are out or quarantined. So there is that challenge, and there is a meeting. I'm part of the school reopening committee, and we're actually having a meeting tomorrow at 8 a.m. to talk about what direction the superintendent has thoughts about what direction we should go in. And so he wants to share with the reopening committee. And then he will also, there's going to be a special Board of Ed meeting at night to talk about whatever his thoughts are in terms of where we go from here, given the increase in cases that we're seeing inside the school system. So I'm sure there'll be lots of discussion tomorrow's meeting and tomorrow morning and then in the evening. Certainly it's a challenge because I've already seen the comments flying around in social media about opinions going both directions. So it's the school is trying to do their best. The superintendent is doing his best to try to make sure that he could keep the children in classrooms as best he can, but it is indeed a challenge. So there'll be more discussions about it.
Ralph, how pervasive have the cases been in our schools? Do you know? Like any sort of numbers or the magnitude of?
It's not that there's not a lot of cases. The problem is that again, when you start doing your contact tracing, that's where the challenge becomes. So you had a case, say for instance, in the 6th grade, and then it ended up being a large number of students and teachers. So all of a sudden you had the whole 6th grade that was, working remotely because of it. So it really isn't, I don't think you'd say that the number of cases have been great, but it's just the impact. Jim?
Yeah, it doesn't say. It was to answer that question, Rick, like, so for example, I think they had three positives in the high school, but it ended up impacting 73 students who had to quarantine and 6 faculty. They had another one, I believe, in Gildersleeve that's impacting where there's 30 kids that are quarantining. But again, the trouble with the high school is because the kids move around, specials, different classes, so there's no real strict cohorting that occurs. Whereas with the younger kids, when you get an impact, there is better cohorting that's happening between those kids. So it doesn't impact necessarily the whole grade. So,
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
it's just a challenge because as you see our numbers, before our numbers were so low that the chance you'd come across individuals that had it was very low. And now because it's growing so rapidly, statistically, you're in a situation where it's more apt to happen. So the challenge is ongoing.
Ralph, I have a question for you. My daughter's one of the 74 seniors or 74 high school students that's sequestered, I guess. What's the policy once they get their COVID test back? Are they still supposed to stay out of school for 14 days? I mean, I know it may change tomorrow, but I've had a couple other parents ask the same thing. So what's the official process if someone is contact traced and they've been exposed to a student that has it or a teacher? What's the procedure they're supposed to follow?
Well, I mean, I think isn't it in general what they said with the high school was that there was a specific date, right? That everyone was going to be staying out and work and being remote. So I think that kind of trumps any other approach that you would take.
Got
I
it.
know from where I'm working now, I know there's different situations where once you could test out in certain situations, but here they had a general policy that the entire high school was going to stay out for that amount of time. So I
Yeah.
would think that's just how it'll be. I mean, it's a
good
challenge.
question, though. Good question for tomorrow, actually, at the special meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else related to COVID-19 that someone thought that anyone thinks they should bring up or ask questions about?
Well, I'll just ask this. I guess the last couple of meetings, we spoke with Mary Pont about the senior center, and I presume that's where we're not considering opening that right now as the cases are getting worse.
Yeah, I would think at this point, given the situation, it's only gotten worse since we were talking when it was pretty good. We were talking about carefully opening it up. Now with the cases growing so rapidly, I would believe that it's probably less likely to happen in the near future. I guess that's something we'll have to see. We'll have to, by at our next meeting, we'll have a pretty good idea where that may go.
Yeah.
Because of the situation.
I'll just throw this out there. I had occasion to go into the library this week, and the staff is very diligent about making sure you use the sanitizer when you walk in. And it seemed like just about not that there were a lot of people there, but the few of us that had walked in is just like, we all missed the sanitizer, and boy, they didn't let us get very far past it, where they were telling us, you gotta put sanitizer on your hands. So they're doing their job.
Yeah, it's a challenge, but people are happy that the library is open and get an opportunity to go into it. And I know there'll be a meeting tomorrow with the library board. I probably won't be there because I'll probably be at the Board of Ed meeting to hear that discussion. But I'm sure that, every meeting we get an update on how things are going. So everything's been good to this point. So people are being respectful, and from what I hear is being respectful and doing what they should coming in, so. Okay, I guess then if there's nothing else COVID related, we will move down to appointments to boards and commissions. Do we have any of those?
No.
Okay. So we will move on to new business and refunds of excess payments. Jim?
All right, I will make a motion that we refund the amount of $151.51 to Cab East LLC.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay, everyone in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? We're good. Okay, that one's good.
And I make a motion that we refund the amount of $112.66 to Honda Lease Trust.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? And that one also is good.
That's it.
Okay. Short list today.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to status and committee reports. Do we, Jim, I guess we'll start with you.
The, we did have, a water and sewer committee meeting and talking about some of the issues. And probably one of the ones that we should, just to note, is that there's definitely, when the bills went out, there were some questions raised on the bills, and that the bills were higher than, I think, than folks expected. Keeping in mind that the increase was, it was a 4.25% increase. And also to the connection charge, the bills were disproportionately higher than that. And it really has a lot to do with the incremental usage that people saw by being home all year, and the fact that there was some extra time that was spent on the billing because the meter reading was delayed, and some bills anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks, which means you could have anywhere from 15 to 30% of the usage from the fourth quarter pulled into your third quarter bill. In a perfect world, on-time readings in the fourth quarter will mean there will be that correspondingly less usage on the fourth quarter bill. But those things taken together, when you look at the factors of, as a town, when Bob's managing it, he's had to buy, I think, I know June was about 6 million gallons of water more than the June previous. But overall, I think it's somewhere around 12 million gallons more over the course of the summer that we've had to buy from MDC than previous. It was definitely a year with a hotter, drier summer where we're using a lot more water. So it really was that increased usage, the rate increase, and of course now the idea of the delayed readings, adding some additional timing on the bill. So we just making sure as we get those questions that we're addressing them and people understand that piece of it. That's really, we haven't met with the sidewalk committee. We're going to be scheduling another meeting to go through, but we haven't actually had a chance to pull that one together yet. So we'll be doing that. But from committee standpoint, that's what I got.
Nothing on Board of Ed you want to point out? or-
Yeah, I can do that. I wasn't sure if you'd want that under the general information, but Board of Ed, you kind of hit a lot of the highlights. Let's see, probably the big ones were, the part of what they discussed at the Board of Ed meeting had to do with sports. They really looked at high-risk sports like wrestling and cheerleading. They did not see a path to do those for winter. They, at the time, were looking at the possibility of the medium risk sports, basketball and indoor track may be okay with masks. Since that time, the CIAC has come out and basically delayed winter sports until January. So I'm sure there's going to be more discussion, but I at least wanted to report what the board had talked about on that evening. I'm not going to go through the COVID numbers again. We already talked about that. However, there is a spending freeze that the board has been working on. And what that has to do with is that there are COVID related costs that the board is really trying to manage through. They're not insignificant to basically handle all of the different things they need to do, from the additional cleanings to some of the additional instruction that allows them to do the virtual learning academy. They're doing, and so there's a lot of work that's going on to bring things in on budget. As it sits right now, and this was good news, as it sits right now, as long as they don't have any more unexpected expenses that come in a big way, they're on a trajectory to be able to finish the year on budget. So they're doing good work on that sense. And the last thing I'm just going to add is that April did a good job with the report, and I'm not going to cover a lot of that, other than to add that it was a very good first full meeting of that group. A lot of ideas, a lot of engagement, and a lot of good discussion. So it was nice to see that group come together with really a very good framework to come together and complete that. Basically their task is to look at how we can do some programming for the community that can help enhance solidarity and awareness, and they're definitely doing put a very good framework together. So just kind of kudos for that group. That was well done. So that's all I got.
So Lou, I know you look like you were gonna chime in, or do you have
Yeah, I was
something?
just gonna say a little bit about what Jim was talking about sidewalks. Just an update, if you drive by Main Street, you'll see that most of the sidewalk, if not all by now, I've been driving by last couple days, but it looks like the sidewalk on the east side of Main Street, all the way up to the, past the Methodist Church, it looks like it's all completed. So things are moving forward.
Thank you, Lou. I actually hadn't driven by there in the last little while, so I hadn't seen that. So thank you.
They did a nice job.
Anyone else have something to report?
I can give you an EDC update. 'Cause I was able to attend that meeting. It at least according to what Mary had to say, appears the Brainerd Place project is moving along. Supposedly Mr. Bertram and his group are going to be closing on their financing in December. They plan to have the permit fee for the town in December as well. New Mylar plans for the project arrived at the town hall and with Lincoln on November 9th, and Lincoln's reviewing them. And then I guess when the filing is done by the town clerk with this paperwork, then they'll be able to apply for their building permit. And she kind of concluded that Mr. Bertram hopes to have all his paperwork in place by the end of the year. So we'll see. Hopefully that happens. And I guess the new brewery is on schedule. Expected to open late November or December. Now, I don't know, that could be impacted. I'm thinking that maybe is impacted by COVID, but that was her report anyway on it. A new business opened on Portland Cobalt Road called Absolute Air. I guess their home base is Middletown and they're expanding over here in Portland. I don't know exactly what they do. And I think you know this, I think we might have talked about it last week, but I guess the salvage company is going to be taking down the old oil tanks on our Brownstone Avenue property at no charge to the town. So those were, the important takes, I thought, from the meeting.
Thanks.
Yeah, Rick,
Okay. Yes.
did they say when they're going to be taking those tanks down?
Let me double check here.
I think they said they wanted to complete it before December 1st.
Mhm.
All right, wait a minute though.
That
I
was-
guess they're waiting to hear from Deep. They have to review it and approve it. Which is interesting because, and then as she said here, and then it can go out for bid, but I don't know why there needs to be a bid if they're taking them down at no cost. But I think they're waiting to hear back from Deep that everything's a go. And
Got it.
she didn't say a specific, I don't think it's happening this month. Because she didn't say in my notes, I didn't have that there was like it was imminent, like it was gonna happen in the next couple of weeks.
Got it.
Yeah, what I'm going off of
Okay.
is the month before was when they talked about that time frame. They were aggressive wanting to get it done before December 1st, but obviously yours is a more current update.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, Ralph, maybe they're gonna get it done in maybe they can get it done by the end of the year. I think Deep is motivated to see this project, moving along, and so I think we're definitely in their radar, being a town land. So, but
Thanks.
don't have an exact date.
The other thing I would note is that if you drive by the new Dairy Queen site that's being worked on, they're out there finally doing it after all the holdups.
I know.
Corporate, they're finally able to start working on that project. So that's always good to see.
So it's interesting with these projects, and that's a good example. It seems like it takes forever to get all the logistics done, and you start to wonder, is this thing going to happen? Is it going to happen? And then when they start building it out, it actually moves along pretty quickly. Of course, that's a much smaller project than what we're doing on Brownstone Avenue or even at Brainerd. But yeah, it looks like that Dairy Queen is definitely happening there. It's moving along.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else have any reports to give? Yeah, the only thing I would say, obviously, as I mentioned, the library board of directors will meet tomorrow. So I don't know if there'll be any. Oh, the one thing to point out is that on that pop-up testing on Saturday, the library will be closed during that event. So they will be closed while they have that, because it's going to encompass taking up the entire parking lot, I would guess.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think they said it was a one-way traffic flow, right? I think
Yeah,
reading it, you go in through off of Freestone and you exit through where the senior
Right.
center is. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just the flow, one way through there to make it simple. Okay, well then, I guess we're done with that, so we can move on to public comment.